Hey everyone, time for a good update on all of my terrariums and aquariums. Am I being photobombed by an angelfish? 2 angelfish. Cheeky buggers. They think they're going to get fed, don't they? I guess we could start with this lot. Well, they're all doing well. The angels keep trying to breed. They're still not very good at it. So the next thing you know, the eggs are all gone and they're all looking a bit bemused. But they're giving it a go. The big red-tailed black shark has decided that she's not fierce after all. I think it's a she. And has gone all placid and nice again. Probably just gave up because all these little ones weren't at all bothered or interested in her chasing them around. Now, as you can see, I've gone over to real plants from the plastic ones now. And in particular, the Anubias are a big success story. I've got some big leafed Anubias up here and some smaller leafed ones down here. And they are just going crazy. They have wrapped their roots around the upright where the water goes out of the tank in the corner there. This over here. This is where the water outlet is. I think you can see that because of the shine on the glass. But that's where the water outlet is. They've wrapped the roots around it. The angels seem to be trying to use this area here as their spawning area, and they've dug up one of my plants. I see. I need to put that back in. The Enterprise is gradually disappearing under the plants as well. It's all looking really good. The pipes you can see coming down, that's just... well, the right-hand one's just running bubbles. You can see the bubbles coming up at the back, which the little hill stream loach seems to think is awesome. He's stuck himself to the back there, look. You see, isn't he cute? Lovely. Hello, guppies. Not looking at you at the moment. Okay, let's look at you. And, yes, that's just running oxygen. And there's quite a flow coming through here at the moment because I've turned the filtration system up a bit. This pipe here, the one that's wiggling, that is actually putting some CO2 out into the water. Here's the little doodah here. There it is. That's actually putting out the tiniest dose of CO2, which is helping the plants all go berserk. Shall we feed them? So what I do when it's feeding time is I press this button here twice. This is the big sump system filter underneath. Until that says feed. And you'll hear that the pump has gone off. The water is, I don't know if you can see, but the water's filling up in the sump. And the water level is dropping up at the top here. I'll just make that horrible gurgling noise for a minute. Now this just stops all the food ending up straight in the filter. So bear with me one moment. I'm going to get the lid off the food. At the moment, I found their favourite food seems to be this stuff. Thanks to MD Fish Tanks for telling me just stick with this because I've bought that many different sorts of food over the years for them. And he's absolutely right. Just stick with this stuff. It's great. They love it. Now, what I tend to do is crumble the food up a bit, but also push it down into the water. And the reason for that is there's a lot of little fishes, these little guys down here, that are mid-water swimmers. And they don't want to come up to the surface for it. So they're waiting for it to come down to them. Angels will just eat wherever it is. Then, of course, I've got my little surface swimming ones, all the little danios and guppies and the little mollies. They like the fact that a bit of it floats. And then we'll end up with a load on the bottom where the pleco and the big synodontis will have a field day. I hope somebody's woke the pleco up. Is there food? Is there food? There's food. There he is. Look at her face. He's a beautiful fish. A bit too big for the tank now, though. With all this planting in here, he hasn't really got room to swim around, so I'm going to sort him out a new home soon with a much, much bigger tank. But yeah, it's all going really, really well. The little ones will all scavenge all that food up off the bottom as well. The pleco and the synodontis will come out and have a go at that. And all in all, it's looking good. The only thing I can't keep in here, look at all that fish poo. That's big fish poo, that is. Ah, disgusting. Stop pooping, you lot. Anyway, yes, the only thing I don't seem to be able to keep in here is corries, and I've absolutely no idea why. Maybe they don't like this gravel. Is it too coarse for the little whiskers? I don't know, but I could do with something else that wiggles around the bottom a lot. Really? Because the thing is with this tank, the water comes in at the top, and it goes out at the top. So you don't get much flow around here. I have pointed that's why there's that air bubble coming up the back to try and create a bit of uplift there. And also I have pointed I don't know if you can see, that's where the I don't think you see it in through the top without me dropping my phone in. This is looking dangerously, isn't it? There, that's where the water comes in. Pointed that down, but look, you can see that's also where the water goes out over on the right there. So yeah, I could do with something that stirs up the bottom a bit. I could put something like clown loach or weather loach in, but of course they might eat my snails, and I've got this lovely little colony of decorative snails going on. There's one. Here's one. Oh, can I focus on him? Little horn nerites and things like that. So yeah, I don't want to get them eaten. So I'm a bit sort of. I was really hoping corries would settle in here, but I don't know. I'll come up with something. Maybe some little hoplos or something. Right, so that's the big tank update. Here's the original little isopod habitat. I've recently cleaned it out, and the little white armadilliums seem extremely happy. They have spawn donation. There's one of the parents over there. And nobody's told them they're supposed to be nocturnal. Look at the kids. Oops. Let's try and focus. There you go. Look at the kids. There's loads of them. And they're so bright white. Yeah, no, there's a good reason that albino ones don't tend to survive in the wild. Anyway, they all look happy enough. They've been eating koi sticks, my fish food from a pond. And yeah. And I've got this light on them. It's just one of those little book reading lights. And I just put it on for a few hours in the day so that the little plants have got some sort of a fighting chance. Yeah, that's one of the parents. Looks like it's getting amorous. I've been enjoying watching the romance in here. It's all very cute. Anyway, there you go. The bumblebee millipede terrarium has recently had a bit of a makeover. Let's have a look in the top. Because somehow it had ended up getting infested with isopods. They'd bred like mad in there. I'd only put 2 little tropical baby tropical greys in. Suddenly I've got hundreds. So I've taken them out and I've given the tank a damn good clean. And the 3 little bumblebees have grown so beautifully, but you never see them. But the food stick I put in the front here last night's gone. So they're obviously still happy enough in there. But yeah, they're a good size, they're little bumblebee millipedes now. It's a shame everybody's in bed. I've got my remaining dairy cows in the orchid jar. As you can see, since I made the video about the orchid jar, I've actually put some more moss in there because my friend Sam has given me some really nice feathery mosses. And you see down the back there? Isn't that lovely? And there's some kind of spiky moss around the side there. It's really hard to film these because of the shine. Now, there should be just 2 dairy cows in there that I hope are both boys. But the way it hasn't suddenly become infested, I suspect I'm right. Now, this little jar here, that's kind of seen better days. I need to have a bit of a makeover on that, but it's so well established that it seems a shame to. But as you can see in the bottom there, let's bring the camera in over the top. But there's a couple of little, there they go, a couple of little dairy cow isopods running around. They're breeding in there. It's only a small jar, so I'm having to try and keep on top of it. I've been offloading babies regularly. But yeah, Shirley Aquatics have been having them off me because they've got a lovely colony of dairy cows going on, a big one. So my babies are going and joining those. I think I'm down to only about 8 or 9 dairy cows now. And in here, this is the jar that I only released the video, as I filmed this, I only released the video a few days ago. I haven't seen the rubber duckies since, but I've just put 2 more food pellets in the front. And last night I put 1 in and it's gone. So I think they must be in there going quite happily. But we'll see how that gets on. I've got some bits of new fern I've just put in there. Let's have a view down from the top. These are just grow lights, by the way. But yeah, that's all settling well, and the moss is already starting to grow up and cover where I made a mess with the super glue. Yeah, I haven't seen the little duckies. I think they're happy enough. Now do you remember that oak leaf fig I was concerned about making it a good home? It's already finding its feet. It's fluffed itself out. I think it's even put out a new leaf in the last couple of days, because there's a little tiny leaf just over here I don't think was there. Anyway, that's all looking good, isn't it? Happy with that. And as I said, the duckies, that's the important thing. They must be okay, because they've eaten that food stick from last night, and there's nothing else in there that's going to eat it, other than a few springtails, and it takes springtails days to eat that. The next update is the nano tanks. As you can see, I've not long cleaned this filter out, so it's all looking reasonably good. and it's got all new carbon in it. Now, I've been trying to get rid of the duckweed in here, and I thought I'd got rid of it all, but a load's just appeared from underneath where the filter housing is. So I'm going to have another go. But as you can see, the little white cloud's looking awesome. He is the king of the tank. We've got a little celestial Danio down there. There's 3 of them in there. There's one coming around from the back as well. Here he comes. He's coming through the... No, he's gone back again. But yeah, it's a bit overcrowded in there, really, to say the least. I mean, this tank really was only big enough. I don't know if it was even big enough for the 2 white clouds. But they're getting old now and they've stopped breeding. So I'm thinking, it won't be awfully that long till... well, she looks like she's about to multiply, doesn't she? I don't know. But yes, it won't be too long until we end up with just the little Danios. And I shall leave it at that then, because it's much more in scale for them. I had no idea white clouds got this big and beautiful, to be honest. But they're nearly 2 years old, so I don't think they'll be with me for too much longer. I thought about promoting them to the big tank, but they like the cooler water in here, and also they're used to being king and queen of the tank. Don't think they like being chucked in with the big stuff. So yeah, it is what it is. Oh, it's very overfiltered. There's plenty of plant growth in there. You can see I've got a lotus lily going on there now as well. It's growing really well, that is. And they all seem happy, to be honest. It's just too many fish for such a small tank. And I've got the same problem in nano tank too, because they multiplied. Well, what did I expect? They're endless. But again, they seem extremely happy. I think the bigger female looks like she's on her way to producing another load of babies. So yes, not too surprisingly, I've got a baby tank and I do offload some every so often. Now don't forget, these tanks are actually a bit bigger than they look. Not a lot, but a bit. This is them from above, so they go back quite a long way. There's this big curve, and that filter is quite substantial for such a small tank. So I test the water regularly, and it's always absolutely spot on. But yeah, I'm going to have to take some fish out of here soon, I think. At some point, I might just take the girls out and keep them separate. Eventually, they'll stop multiplying. They will carry on producing babies from the same mating for quite a long time, apparently. But yeah, I ended up with 3 boys and 1 girl, and it was a bit much for her, I thought. So I put 2 more girls in, and that's 6 fish. So that's, again, too many for that tank, really. So I've got to have a sort out. But they seem happy enough. There's no aggression. The water quality is always spot on. All I do is I water change, probably. I drop out about, I don't know, a couple of centimetres of water once a week and top it back up again, that's all. But, even then, when I test the water before that, I'm not sure it really needs it. I've just kind of habitually done it. Anyway, so that's the little endless, and they all think they're huge and things that they too. Over here then, this bowl is so happy it doesn't know where to put itself. It's got this nice little filter running. Again, the water quality always comes out perfect, but I have got an algae bloom going on, so I'm putting the light on less. It's in their line of the light from the terrariums, so it gets probably too much light. But this is where I just put my baby endless to grow on, and as you can see, there's a little bunch of them down here. They're all coming on really nicely. They're eating really, really well, and as soon as they get to a reasonable size, I take them up to offload them at Shirley Aquatics. The boys are starting to colour up, so it's time to offload this bunch as well. They'll quarantine them for a little while, grow them on a little bit, and then they'll pop them in their sail tanks to find them new homes. The plants have gone berserk in here. I have to every so often have a good trim and clear out. And when you think it's just basically a vase, I think that's pretty impressive. But the little fishes seem very happy. They're certainly eating me out of house and home. They have only just eaten, otherwise they'd all be coming up to see me. The minute I sit down here, they all come and demand food normally. Again, there's too many in there, so it is offloading time soon. Over here, I have got some tubs ready to go offload as well. That top one's full of tropical grey isopods, and below it is one full of dairy cows, and the bottom is a moss one that I need to get some light to, so I need to get it out from under there. The recent creation, which I don't think I made a video on, but this was just a nice little jar I got from AliExpress, and it's just basically got a Fittonia. Not Fittonia, yeah, no, what's that? It's peperamia, a bit of oak leaf fig, which I don't think is doing very well. I might need to put another cutting in. It's got a bit of Tradescantia and a little bit of peacock spike moss. So that's only been in for a couple of weeks, I think. So that's not doing a great deal yet, although the little peperomia here does seem to be shooting quite well. So it's a good start. I've got a couple of plants that are waiting to go in something. I'm thinking I've got some of the stuff to make goo. If anybody watches Omi's channel, you will know what I mean by goo. So I'm going to try and do it like a really vertical. I've got a tall, thin jar. So the idea is this is going to go at the bottom, maybe one of those, and then I'm going to have a wall all the way up the back. It's a spaghetti jar, basically. And then we will have bits of bark and rock and stuff stuck in it, and try and grow my oak leaf fig all the way up that, I think. So that's what those are waiting for. So this one, and the glass needs cleaning, again, apologies. But this one was all about this little plant down here. It's actually normally an aquatic plant, as is this little bit on the top here. That is hydrocotyle. The little one at the top here is hydrocotyle, and it is, yeah, normally aquatic, and it's growing in amongst the moss on the top. So that's good. And then this down here is a newbie. Oh crikey, it's hard to show you. She's really small, but at the front here, this is an Anubias nana petite. So that they are grown immersed, but they are intended for the aquarium trade. In fact, there are the parent plants in the nano tank too. So I wanted to see if I could grow it actually just in a terrarium. So that's what this little jar is all about, and it's pretty small. You can see the moss is doing well. I'm having trouble keeping the glass clean, but other than that, it's doing well. Right, I'm just going to give it a quick spray. I just do this once in a while. Just take the little plastic lid off. Just give the moss on the top a spray, because that does seem to struggle up there a bit. It dries out a bit. And then we just pop the little lid back on. There we are. This one's quite a recent addition. As you can see, it's really small. Let me ring you in over the top again. It was just a really cute little jar I got from AliExpress. And there's all that's in there is a little peperomia, some fern-like moss, and I can't remember what it's called. And this is another experiment. On the front here, this, again, is an aquatic plant. Oh, there's a little bit of a, I can't remember what that's called. Is that type of peperomia? String of pearls, I think they call it, don't they? Just put a little cutting of that in as well. Yeah, this is, back over to Nano Tank 1, that. Hello, snail. So it's another aquatic plant. While we're over here, what I should have done you a close-up to have a real proper look at how beautiful these little fish are. Now, bear in mind, they're only about an inch long. Look at the little boy anglers. The little girls are very sweet. They're always playing. But the little boys, look at them. There's 3 different colours there of the boys. And then, yeah, there's all these sweet little girls. Over here, let's see if we can catch the celestials. So the white clouds, they're right posers. Yeah, you're a right poser, aren't you, mate? It's quite difficult to film these through the plastic. It's also got scratched, the plastic. So these tanks are actually plastic and it's actually got scratched. Need to get me the black screen, really, don't I? So there's one of the little celestial Danios. That one's a little bit thinner. I always thought it was a girl because it's a little bit smaller and less colourful and a little bit thinner. But now I think they're fully grown and its fins have coloured up. So I'm wondering if I've actually got 3 boys. I don't know. And that's just a thin version. Oh, but I mean, look at this creature. You wouldn't believe that was just a white cloud, would you? Fantastic. So while we're in the little corner by where I sit, I have to show you this. Do you remember right back when I started this channel, I started putting on videos of little tiny terrariums in spice jars and things like that. And they've not done so well, to be honest. Some of them I've had to empty out, and some of the plants just outgrew the jars, so I've moved them on into bigger things. But this is one of the very first ones, and look at the little oak leaf fig. That is the first oak leaf fig cutting I ever took. Look. It's so happy. And I just keep this This has got a little bit of slate at the back. Was that a bit of wood? I think there's a bit of wood, wasn't it? But I just keep this in amongst my other terrariums where it gets a nice little bit of light. I pop the lid off about once a week just to let it get some air through. But yeah, I hardly ever water it because it seems to be just keeping the moisture in. Sorted. So it's a very happy little plant, this is. Okay, I suppose I better include an update on Fudge. Fudge is being Fudge. Hello. He's looking at me as if I've gone mad. What are you doing, Mum? You're just going to sit there and do nothing? Yeah, pretty much. Here in the conservatory has become my filming area. This is the messy, well, the whole conservatory is a mess. It's full of car parts at the moment and motorbike bits. But yeah, this is where I clear off the top here to do my filming. And I need to sort out down here, but all this is going to just become sort of plant zone. So stop me making a mess in the kitchen. Mark's trying to grow tomato plants, but these are the babies. They went in too late. It's a bit of an experiment, really, to see if we can get them going this late in the year. There's the other little tree that was in that fairy garden that I gave up on. So there's a bit of an update on all this lot. More updates. This little jar hasn't really done very well. The plants are still growing in it, but yeah, there's not a lot happening. So I think I'll be breaking that one down soon. This one's gone crazy. There's a little pagoda in there, as you can see. That is a wine glass, a stemless wine glass. And the plants are all going really well in it. So I think I should be keeping that one for a bit longer. People ask where the bonsai fig went that was in my little fairy garden. Well, after what is it? It's got to be a year and a half. That garden just really went to pot. Remember the one I was making the little, I think it was aquacast, wasn't it? House to go in and everything. It all just finally started to look really rubbish. So I broke it down, pruned the little tree right back, and I put it in this little pot with some little peperomia cuttings, and yeah, we'll see how that goes from there. Here it's all steamed up, but this is another terrarium I did recently. Let's see if I can turn it around a bit. It's got all sorts in there, and they do seem to be starting to grow, so that's coming on well. Pardon? Did you say wheat? What do you want? You've got a load of green stuff. Look, you haven't eaten all that lot yet. What's it squeaking for? And now I point a camera at you and you go quiet. You'll have to believe me, folks, he was squealing a minute ago, and I've no idea why. We'll have a cuddle in a bit, shall we? So on my windowsill upstairs, I've got a bit of a plant nursery going on, but this is my original fairy garden. It needs pruning. These were a bunch of little baby plants. There's several of them, 4, in a pot together. They were for sale for £1 at a local garden centre about 5 years ago because they looked dreadful. Well, obviously I've grown them on. The roots have all mingled in together, and it's become this little fairy garden. It needs some attention. I need to prune the plants back. I need to prune the big plant back. In all honesty, it probably needs repotting and raising up some to give the roots even more height, but I'll show you when I do that because I think that'll be quite a nice little project. So here's some of the other ones that have been done in various degrees of time. This one's relatively new. And it's steamed up a lot and the plants have gone a bit, which is kind of what I wanted because it's quite a tall jar. But I have only got this light source here, really. I've just ordered a bigger light to kind of go across them all, a bit like I've got with the other terrariums. But it's coming on nice. Everything's rooted. The peacock spike moss is doing well. The little Fittonia, yeah, I shall prune him back. Oh, actually, the little fern that's growing in the back's doing better than my other ones. And yes, that's going to need trimming back a little bit, and I shall poke it back in, of course. Now, this one I only did a few days ago, and I think I've overwatered it. However, it doesn't seem to mind. The peacock spike moss has gone crazy. The little Tony is quite happy. A little bit of oak leaf fig going in the bottom there. I'm going to... Oops, it's not focusing, is it? I'm going to leave the lid off. Look at the colours in the peacock spike moss. Isn't that amazing? I'm going to leave the lid off for a bit, let that dry out a little. Now this is the terrarium I made for my witch friend, and as you can see it's completely all steamed up, but let's have a look in through the top. Again, we've got peacock spike moss, we've got a Fittonia doing really well. I might prune that off and stick it back in. And can you see I put all crystals in the bottom? And the little fern's doing well in there. So I think I'm going to prune everything back, then leave it a couple of weeks, and then she can have it. But it's a bit too steamed up at the moment to do too much in the way of photos. But I think you get the idea. We've got a jungle in a jar. Now this one I did absolutely ages ago, and clearly I've overwatered it because the soil looks as soggy as hell. But the little plant looks very happy about it. Again, I'm going to leave the lid off for a bit, but I have to be careful with this because there's a couple of isopods living here. And as you can see, the plants have gone right up to the top. One is by very popular demand. As you can see, the glass needs a clean. It's got algae on it. But this was the original gin glass terrarium. And look at that. Since I started it off, it struggled at first and then it suddenly went crazy. So, again, I need to do some pruning. I've done a few rounds of pruning already. Look, the little plants are so happy. Let me bring you into the side. I'm going to have to work out how to, I'm going to have to give it a prune and work out how to clean the glass, but that's just a gin glass. Isn't that amazing? Now this isn't, the lid isn't completely on this, so it's not a completely closed system because of the where this light is. So it'll be interesting to see if it acts any different once I've put a different lighting in, and this one isn't sort of slightly holding the lid open. So this is where the tropical white isopods live, and I've never seen anything eat like them. I really haven't. They've demolished all the stuff I put in the back there for them a few days ago. That was loads and loads of leaf litter. I'm feeding them fish food, as you can see here, and they've taken to, I was hoping they'd do it now to show you. They've taken to all coming legging it out to eat when I put food in. It's like they haven't eaten for months, you know, which is ridiculous because I'm feeding them daily. I'm going to have to offload a load of these soon as well. Crazy creatures. Anyway, if they'll come running out, I'll put the camera back on. Finally, here's something I've not shown you before. This was a miniature orchid that my late brother-in-law bought for his mum. Just, I think it was only a couple of months before he passed away. Now, it was tiny. It's gone absolutely berserk. And she got to the point where she really didn't like it because, I mean, obviously, look at these. That's gorgeous. But the aerial roots, I've never seen one go quite this crazy before, but they're spectacular. So she decided to call it Tugly because it's ugly, and that's kind of stuck. So I still call it Tugly, which seems a shame. But yeah, it now lives on my bathroom windowsill and it's as happy as Larry. I miss the roots daily, particularly while the weather's been warm like this. I just miss them with a spray bottle of water, and I've also got some spray orchid fertiliser in a, where is it? Hang on, let me show you. Orchid mist. There you go. I spray it with that every so often as well. And I just carried on doing what she was doing, which is just completely soaking the roots once a week as well. You know, stand the pot in water, let it completely drain out, and then just put it back on the windowsill. And it seems so happy it doesn't quite know where to put itself. It's just never stopped flowering. There you go, that's Tugly. Anyway, there you go. You wanted an update on everything. I think that's everything. It's a lot. So it's probably, I don't know how long this video is going to end up, but there you are. You were asking for an update. You got one. I'll see you for the next one, folks. Bye.
Tiny glitter, lots of legs. It's tricky getting them moving in the right direction. I stumble and I fumble, trying to coordinate, but I keep dancing to my own rhythm, no question. Tiny as a pot, that's who I am. Moving and grooving just like a funky jam. Legs wiggling left, legs wiggling right. I'm a leggy little critter, watch me take flight. Each leg's got a mind of its own. Sometimes